Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Sexuayo, a.k.a. Coach Bird, and I am the host of the BYRDCAGE Show. Episode 24. Episode 24, you know what I'm saying? We're pumping these things out, you know what I'm saying? We're pumping these things out. Today, man, super special guest, you know what I'm saying? I coached his son in basketball, you know what I'm saying? Graduated from Camden High with one of his brothers. I coach right now, currently, football staff with one of his brothers, so, we go back, you know what I'm saying? But the reason why we have him on here today is kind of to celebrate him, of course, because like we do, we always like to give people that's from our city and doing what they need to do, give them their shine, give them a platform, you know what I'm saying, to reach out. But, he has something special coming up. I'm going to let him talk about it. And matter of fact, first of all, thank you.
You already know.
For coming through. My man Vince Cream. And before we get started, just say what's up to the people, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, everybody. I'm in the bird cage.
He's in the cage.
I'm in the cage with the family members. We go back like 8 tracks.
Yes, indeedy. And let's get right into it. Just let our viewers know what we got coming up next weekend.
Okay.
What's going on with that? You know
this is an exciting time here in Camden. We see so many good things going on, from Brother Vic Karstoffen becoming the mayor, moving the whole Camden initiative forward with growing the city. And my grandfather, obviously, was Jersey Joe. And it's been a long time coming, but we're about to raise a statue for him to commemorate his life, his career, and his contributions to Camden. So we'll be doing that on October 16th, this Saturday. I want to see everybody there. It's going to be an epic day. It's going to be a monumental, historic day for the city, for African Americans, for our family, and everybody should be there.
That's what's up.
Real quick before we go into it, we have a lot of young viewers,
Okay.
Athletes. Explain who Jersey Joe Wilcox was.
Beautiful question. I just give you a little bit of background. I'm Jersey Joe's oldest grandson, and so I was born to really do what I'm doing, I think. Graduated from college, Rutgers. Shout out to my Rutgers Camden family.
Are you?
As one that's sitting here. But over the course of my life, I've always been like a boxing historian, because I read everything about my grandfather growing up. Locally here in Camden, again, I'm going to veer off a little bit. There's a brother, Darian Gans.
Okay.
And y'all might know Gans. He's a fireman. He's a descendant of the first African-American world champion. His name was Joe Gans. Joe Gans was a lightweight. He fought before 1900, like right around 1900. Nobody from his generation is still living. Everybody's gone. My grandfather fought in the generation after that. So my grandfather won a title in 1951 from Ezra Charles, was the fighter. He fought Joe Louis. He fought Rocky Marciano, who won the title from him. Rocky Marciano is, a famous name as well as Joe Louis. And my grandfather basically was the first man to win the title after such a long journey. George Foreman is the oldest champion now. My grandfather was the oldest champion when he won.
Gotcha.
He had fought for 21 years,
right.
Became champion. And what it comes down to is he persevered. He fought a 21-year career, became world champion, and the rest is history. Jersey Joe would be like almost in folklore. Before they called it the Jersey Shore, they called it Atlantic City. Before Jersey Mike's, it was just a sub shop.
Right.
But everything came after Jersey Joe. My grandfather would be what I would call like an original master of boxing. When he was fighting, boxing was evolving. The fighters after him, the Muhammad Ali's, the Tyson's, all of those fighters studied the older fighters to see things that they could learn. My grandfather was like the master of movement. If you go back and watch any of his videos, he moved differently, and therefore he was a special type of fighter because of it.
That's what's up. And we talk a lot of basketball, football, you know what I'm saying, but today we're going to get into some boxing for all you folk out there, you know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorite sports. I hope y'all guys watch the fight with
night.
Wilder
night.
and Fury. It was a good one. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about this, Vince. Let's talk about like how was it growing up, being his grandson. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, because especially in the boxing world, you know, his name is right up there with the best of them. You know what I'm saying?
And did you know, what I mean by did you know, like, we grew up, when you grow up with somebody in your family who's famous, you don't always know that that's who they are. Like, so, yeah, you just, so that's my grandpa. So did you know he was Jersey Joe when you were growing up?
I mean, my dad had me when, my mom and dad had me when my dad was 20. So my grandfather was a young grandfather. He was 46 when I was born.
Okay.
And he was, I was 34 when he died. So I lived a lifetime with him. And so growing up, I mean, he came out of the fight game and went right into public service.
Okay.
So what we had was Grandpa worked, you know, in the city, in recreation, helping with juveniles, and things like that. Funny story, you know, there's many of them, but funny story, one day he came home and we were all out on the porch, because we kind of like, from this era, we raised up together with our cousins, so we all like brothers and sisters. He comes home, he says, hey, you guys want to get some ice cream? He would always take us to get ice cream. Yeah, Grandpa, let's get some ice cream. We'd hop in the back of his big black sedan, and we like start going downtown. I said, Grandpa, the ice cream store, you know the Carvel ice cream store in East Camden?
Yes.
We used to go over there, right? Like, yo, Grandpa, the ice cream store is there. We said, hey, just relax, we'll get the ice cream. He would drive over to 8th and Spruce. You guys know 8th and Spruce. Across from, right in front of Board of Education. Used to be like a corner. And him and a guy named Lou Walls used to police the corners and police the juveniles. So we're going to get the ice cream. We're in the backseat of the car. He pulls up and we're looking at all these roughnecks on the corner. Well, they see him coming. And if it was 8 or 9 of them, 4 of them like drifted off. The next couple, the next thing you know, it's like 2 people standing there, and he's walking diagonally across the street. The liquor store's right there. He would go over across the street, and he would point. And back then, guys were processors, so they had scarves on their heads. Okay. He wasn't with all that. So he would cross the street and talk to them, basically tell them, I want this corner back, and y'all can get off this corner. And they would be like, all right. And then he was saying, now give me them scarves off your heads. And he would take the scarves off their heads. They would leave the corner. He would come back across the street, put their scarves in the gutter, and then take us to get ice cream. And we're like, what was that all about? The point was he was giving direction to people that didn't have any.
Right.
And he did that over and over and over again. So I guess it was, again, that's like I said, I've been reading about boxing since I was a kid. So I've always known he was somebody special.
Gotcha.
But when he was 70 years old, we're in Atlantic City for George Foreman, Holyfield weigh-in. 70 years old, he's walking with a cane. As soon as one person discovered him, he still had throngs of people coming.
That's what's up.
So it was that type of thing.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's special. Like,
Yeah, that's special.
You know what I'm saying? Like we've known each other for forever. You know what I'm saying? And you know we have close ties and all that, but I don't know. It's just this is something right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's special to me right here. You know what I'm saying? It's special. We appreciate you coming on and sharing this with our viewers. But people out there watching, this is special. This is a special.
It's real energy. It's real energy that comes off of righteous men, righteous people in general, but righteous men. Real energy comes off of them. My grandfather had a strength and a humility combination that allowed him to talk to the people at the highest level, popes, presidents. I got pictures of my grandfather with Harry Truman.
Wow.
You know, but he never lost a common touch because he could walk across the corner and not have to make a big deal out of it. It's like, man, we're not doing it like this. And they would respond. And, you know, what's going on now, and I was alluding to earlier that Joe Gans is a fighter that many young black kids wouldn't know about either, Tracy, like you were talking about Jersey Joe. Jersey Joe's on the cusp of not being known, because if my generation passed and this hadn't happened, we would be in the same spot.
Right, gotcha.
Because of this moment that we're about to see on Saturday, he's being reborn. And just like the Birdcage is a brand, Jersey Joe Walcott is a brand.
Right.
It represents strength, it represents perseverance, it represents class, It represents all of those things that we all want our kids to have. And now we have a symbol that will be down there for generations.
Now, this leads us right into our next question. So, like this whole process, like, how was it getting this statue? Like fighting for his legacy, like wanting this to happen so people in, you know, this Camden specifically, but just Jersey, you know what I mean, across the United States, like what did y'all do to get this process started? To, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was that like?
Wow, man.
Because I know it just didn't happen overnight.
And was it a hard fight?
Right.
Like, was it a hard fight? Because the statue is major.
Right.
And statue's major, and that's staying forever, right? And I know, like, was that fight hard? Bureaucratically, I should say.
Well, I mean, let me again try to start from a point of beginning. Probably about 12 years ago, I got contacted by a gentleman from California, and he said, "I want to write a book about your grandfather." Now, my grandfather was champion in '51, and if you Google him, it's replete with, you know, all kinds of ways you can read about him and find out about him. But there was no book, no definitive book. So when I met the guy, he said he wanted to write the book. I got down with him and I wrote the foreword for the book. So and the book is Jersey Joe Walcott, a boxing biography. I have to keep looking over at the camera.
That's all good.
A boxing biography. And again, I wrote the foreword for it. So around 2012, 11, 12, I get a call from Jose Suleiman from Mexico. And I had been in Mexico recently, so I'm eating, and I thought it was a come back to the hotel.
Right.
We'll give you a discount day or something.
Right.
But it was Jose Suleiman calling me to tell me that they were going to erect a statue of Rocky Marciano in Brockton, Massachusetts. Rocky Marciano is the only undefeated heavyweight champion, highly regarded and loved, you know, in the boxing community. But he was going to build this statue. So he calls me up, and I'm looking at this phone call. I'm like, what is this? I thought he said it was Jose Suleiman. I said, well, okay, like, what can I do? He said, I want you to come up here and represent your grandfather at this unveiling.
Okay.
And because Marciano won the title from my grandfather.
Gotcha.
So I go up there. My brother Bill and I go up, and it's the largest statue of a sports figure in North America. It's 23 feet high. When you stand next to it, you know, I come to about his knee.
Wow.
All right, to give you some sense of how big the statue is. So we did the whole thing. It's 10,000 people there. I want to see 10,000 people at Jersey Joe's.
Let's make that happen. Let's make it happen.
And they put it at the base of the football field in Brockton. Brockton High School has 10,000 kids. It's like the High and Wilson all in one school. They win championships in football for years and years and years. They put it in a high school stadium because that's where the people congregate. And Brockton is about as big as Camden, size-wise. So when we were coming back in 2012, I told my brother Bill, because we went up and came back on a train, I said, I promise you that one day the planes will fly through this Camden corridor. And you know they fly into the corridor, and you guys y'all international travelers. so I know y'all been on planes and flying. They look to your right. That's William Penn on the top of that building. I said one day they're going to say, look to your left. That's Jersey Joe Walcott, and that's Camden, New Jersey. They ain't been saying that. They don't acknowledge us. They're going to start acknowledging us. When I told my brother this 10 years ago, I said. Bill Henley, the news guy, says the sun's rising up on the Camden Aquarium. When the sun's coming up, he's going to be saying the sun's rising on Jersey Joe's face because Jersey Joe will face the east, and the sun will rise on his face every day for generations. To your point, and to answer your question, this has been like the journey to become a champion. You know, I mean, you know, you start with a dream, you see the accomplishment at the end, and that's all you get. The part you don't get is the middle, the part where you fail or persevere. My grandfather fought for 21 years to become heavyweight champion. It's like unprecedented.
Right. And
it's like, you know, the greatest part about his story is he never gave up. And so as I'm out here, you know, doing my elevator pitch to every single person I could find for the last 10 years, I don't know how many times I heard, that's a good idea.
I got you.
Hey man, I hope that works out.
Right,
Good luck with that. But none of it stuck. I didn't let that stick because the point was somebody is going to hear me.
Right.
So eventually, the Camden County Historical Society wanted to get involved with the idea, and then the county got involved, and then the momentum just gathered because Camden's a championship city, but that's not how the world sees us.
Right, not at all.
But our pedigree as champions started with Jersey Joe. This is going to be that marker that allows people to really understand how significant the Wagners are. The three generations of great success there. The Itchy Smith conversation that we're going to have, recently, upcoming, that the mayor and Denny Brown are working on. Your father. I mean, one of the things about Mr. Bird, who's like uncle to me, we're Rutgers guys. Me and you Rutgers too? Okay, well, we're gonna hold that against you.
I was going to say that.
We're gonna hold that against you
because I still love you. It's all good. It's all good.
But the thing that rocked me really, really, really special was how close your dad was with my parents. Because my mom and them were in Centerville, so he knew them, and he knew my dad. My dad went to Wilson. My mom went to Camden High, and so over the years, like I said, we would always talk. When I found out that your father was the second four-letter athlete, African American from Rutgers, and Paul Robeson was the first, which I knew. I mean, he's a legend. There should be a park named after him. Our heroes are right here.
True.
And it's up to us in moments and with vehicles like this to promote them, to tell people, hey man, you might not know who this was.
Right.
But if you look at what they did, you realize what you're doing is just a repeat. It's a remix.
And that's what we try to do here on the Birdcage. I think it's imperative because I was always taught that if you don't know from where you come, you don't know where you're going. So we try to always give it an opportunity, especially being around Lando, who is like a buff on all things athletics out of the city.
Absolutely.
We try to just let people know who's who and what's what, and just try to get people to understand, like especially young people. Like, it was generations and generations before you guys that have done this with less.
With less.
With less. Because we didn't have, they didn't have the state-of-the-art sneakers and the state-of-the-art helmets, and they did it with less, right? And they did it hard. So that's why we try to, promote those type of things. And just, this right here is major for you guys as a family.
It's so significant, but it's something for all of us. I mean, the story, I'll tell you this story my grandfather told till he died. My grandfather was one of 10, and my great-grandfather was a West Indian. He came here from the Virgin Islands and hit pay dirt, married my great-grandmother, and they started having children. She was younger than him, and they had 10 children. My grandfather was the third child. So back when my grandfather was born in 1914, you can even rewind your brain to think of what that must have been like. There was few TVs, it was radio, and the old men would send for the kids to play sports to entertain them. But back then, the big sports were horse racing, baseball, and boxing. Football wasn't even on the screen yet. So they would always send for Arnold. Go get Arnold. We went in to box this kid. Because he was a slick boxer even back then. And so he would go and he would box the kids or whatever. And they would pay him in candy. And he would come home and his dad one day said, if you get a chance, you're going to be a champion. And my grandfather never ever forgot that his dad said it. And he said it with a thick West Indian accent. It sounded like, let me tell you one thing. If my boy gets the right manager and the right handler, he's going to be a champion of the world. And it was like, yo, man, that stuck with him. And my grandfather was 80 when he passed, but he told that story his whole life. And the point of the statue is to remind people the power of the voice of a father. It's like, man, you can impact your kid. Facts. The words of encouragement that you give your kid, you have no idea what seed you planted when you told them you believed. So again, mentoring for the kids that don't have their father there, like Lando does, like you do, coaching, like I've done with Kappa League, which is a big part of my mentoring background. We all gotta reach in. you know, and help the kids that need help.
Right.
So when I see, you know, you guys promoting the Birdcage and talking about these types of issues and bringing people like Lando on, that's my fuel. That's why. I mean, I know I'm a little bit ahead of y'all in the game, but ultimately this is so y'all have one more tool to say, hey man, we're gonna go down to the aquarium, we're gonna go on a field trip. Now we're gonna get down here. Now you see this big, you know, majestic statue. You know who this is. To your point, go Google it. Stop looking at your phone and look at that. And look at your phone and look at this. Yeah, and when you get that momentum going, then you have the potential to have them listen, because now you told them something they don't know.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of fatherless kids out here. My great grandfather died when my grandfather was 15. So it's like, how'd you become heavyweight champion?
Right.
After that, because it was a dream that was inside. He knew what it would look like on the backside, and he persevered through the middle. That's the biggest thing. You know, we all have dreams.
True.
You know, we all have dreams, and we all can. I can see myself winning the Oscar.
Right.
I can see myself raising my hand as champion. Okay, well, you can see yourself start.
Right.
Can you see all the running you got to do?
Right.
Can you see all the discipline you got to have? You got how many times you got to push away from the table? You don't see that. That's the hard part. And that doesn't just exist in sport. It exists in life. If you want to be anything, you've got to persevere through the middle. So.
Y'all hear that out there?
Yeah. There's
perseverance.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? All my viewers, student athletes, everybody, and we talk about it a lot, but perseverance. Yeah. You gotta push through. If you want it. From what you're saying, if you want it,
man. I mean, if you got a dream and you quit, you just guaranteed that your dream wasn't coming true.
Right.
So the point is, you know, it's up to you to be laser focused on the things you want. You can't do everything. And when you have a purpose in life, like y'all's purpose, again, I applaud what y'all are doing. I mean, taking it another level. You didn't have to do this, man. You coaching. Tracy's retired. She didn't touch the mic. Y'all don't have to do this. And I mean, and this is, it's just like me. This is not about me for my grandfather.
Right.
This is not about money or none of that. This is about so people never forget the example that's been set. They don't remember Joe Gans.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure that they never forget Jersey Joe.
That's that hash. You know, when you go to the graveyard, you see a begin date, a hash, and an end date.
Yes.
It's about that hash in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, what you set in that hash.
That's right.
What you did in the hash.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That'll make you live on forever.
That's right.
And I say it too when it came to my son. Like, ain't nobody gonna never forget he lived. Even though he lived a short time, nobody will never forget that he lived. You know, and that's why, you know, we started the mental health thing with athletes, because I need these athletes to know, like, he went before y'all, but ain't nobody ever gonna forget that he lived, and that's the key.
I mean,
it's about the hash, right?
Right, and you know, the big thing is everybody's got an appointment. Nobody knows when they're going up out of here. So it's like I don't get too philosophical, but there's a quote by a guy named Seneca. And Seneca said, the time we spend on earth is not life, it's merely time. You know, life began with God, with the ancestors, got to you, and will continue with your legacy. So when you're here, to your point, when you're teaching these kids, it's like, yo, man, here's the rhythm of life. Thank God first every day. Honor your mom and dad by the things you do. Check on them, look out for them. You ain't got to go, but just call them. Reach out, let them know that you're in the game with them. Because that might be all they get all day. And it might be the one bright light that carries them through the day. And then you got to pivot, like y'all are doing, like I try to do, and say, yo, man, I know you're a young buck. I know you think you got everything. But you see I'm tying my shoes up? This is how you tie your shoes up, son. You don't do it like that. You're going to trip over yourself. You know what I mean? And teach the young kids. And after you've, thank God, honored your parents, taught the young kids, then you take a few minutes for yourself. Have a glass of water. Have a Coca-Cola. Watch
I don't know if water's going to be my choice. Thanks for the advice. No. You're absolutely right.
Some water.
You're absolutely right, because, you know, my skin is glowing because I drink good water and I mind my business.
I ain't mad at
That's the key to life.
I ain't mad at you.
I tell all the young ladies, when people find out that I'm about to turn 50, and the young ladies are like, oh my God, you don't look your age.
No,
oh my God.
Don't.
because I drink good water, alkaline water, and I mind my business.
Yeah.
Because drama will age you.
That's right.
So the water thing is a good thing.
Yeah.
Drama will age you.
Yeah,
Don't
and-
need that.
And when he was talking about Rocky Marciano and Jersey Joe fighting, we're sitting here before we started taping, and we're looking at ESPN, and one of the reporters that was talking, and he was talking about like football game or something, I think, right? And
Yeah,
in the
background.
picture, in the background on the wall was a drawing of Rocky Marciano and
Jersey Joe fighting. That's what's up.
You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
divine intervention, right?
I mean, it's like the hints and the truth is everywhere.
Right.
The question is, are you listening? I was telling Tracy a minute ago, Satch, when you were out, I said, when you walk up to a young person, you say, I got something to give you. It's of value. I said, and if you use the metaphor of a pearl, you hold up a pearl in front of somebody, they know it has value, they'll take it. But there are people that you say, I got something to give you, and it's of value, and you hold it up, it's a pearl, but they see an oyster shell. And they're like, man, I don't need that.
Oh, right,
it's like,
right,
no. This is something you
Right.
need. This is going to help you. A lot of kids walk away. What y'all are doing is polishing up so that they know it's a pearl, and they'll listen. You know what I mean? And take it with them. Because when you plant a seed in the ground, you don't see what the seed's going to do.
Right.
But eventually the seed becomes a tree. And and that's when, you start to understand what the seed meant in the first place. So, I mean, I think that my grandfather, and to try to stay, with that and pull back from some of my own philosophies, but I got them from him.
Right.
He impacted people because he stayed humble and he stayed focused. It was like he was always about service. Even when he was a fighter, he was always saying things like, what you have to do for the kids and how you have to look out for your mom. When my great-grandmother and great-grandfather died, they buried them in the grave with no headstone because they didn't have no money. My grandfather told me, he said, when I got a little bit of money, I went back and I got their bodies out and I moved them and I put them under a headstone because that was respect.
Right,
He said, I was able to sleep knowing that they were at peace.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Your mind, when your mind's only on you, you ain't going nowhere. Your mind has to be on others first. Ali said, the rent we pay for our time on earth is service to others. The price we pay to live on earth is serving others. It's like, that's why you here. It ain't for you, it's to help other people. We're just taking it further. I'm an extension of my grandfather. I'm a chip off a rock. So are you, so are you. We just moving it forward, upping the game, to help the next kid. The next person in line, and that's why it's like you got to show them this is what you do. You do it like this, and you end up in a space like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what's up. Before we get out of here, before we wrap this up, what do you see like the statue? I'm gonna let you, make sure you get a time again and all that. The statue is done. The statue is going to be unveiled in a couple days. What do we see in the future? Like what happens now? Outside, I know you alluded to it. It's there, so now we can have this conversation with the next generation. They can see it. They can ask questions. They can Google it, look it up, all that. You know what I'm saying? But from your perspective, you can speak for yourself, your family, and all that. Like the statue is here. So now what?
Again, when you have a goal, you need to focus on the goal. And when the goal is completed, Martin Luther King, I'm gonna quote book over here. Martin Luther King said, with every conquest comes the next mountain. And so it's like we're almost at the top. But when you get up to the top, then you better look around. It's like my conversation about the elderly and the youth. My mom has Alzheimer's and dementia. That's a pet project for me to raise money to support people because everybody's got somebody that has that problem.
Right.
We all going through the long goodbye somewhere in our family. I would like to be able to use a foundation to raise money to help them, and the other side comes back to my own personal passion is nonprofit mentoring groups like the Simbas, like I Dare to Care with Pam, even Hope, who gives away food. Anybody that's getting down and doing things in the community that's going to inspire young people, I want to help them. If it's me coming to hang out, if it's me coming to talk to somebody, if it's me helping to raise money, that's what I want to position myself for after the statue. And I want to be able to use the platform that I've created because we've rebirthed the brand. You know, people knew Jersey Joe when he was here.
Right, right.
But as we said, they was about to forget. They're not going to ever forget now. Because they're going to always be talking about his father inspired him. I need to inspire my son.
Right.
And it's going to go from there.
Right.
So that's what I see. I see being able to help other groups that are doing things for older people and doing things for younger people. And in the name of my grandfather.
That's what's up. Yo, that's big. A statue. Think about that. You got a statue. Yeah. Like, think about that. One day when we're out of here, we're going to have a statue of Cousin Tracey.
I don't think so.
I
I just want Dayton Street named after me. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. I've been there for a lifetime. Just give me that. You know what I mean? I ain't asking for much. I mean, if y'all choose a statue, I'm cool with it. I don't see that happening, but I'll just take a street.
Okay.
Just take a street.
take the street.
Not that I'm thinking small.
No.
But that's big.
Yeah,
Like,
that's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. I'm super proud for you and your family. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know, you've known me forever. We've known each other forever. Graduated with your brother. You know what I'm saying? I work and coach with your brother. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just happy and proud for y'all that this is happening, and proud for the city. You know what I'm saying? And New Jersey, the United States. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is big. This is definitely big. You know what I'm saying? Let them know again the date, the time.
October 16th, Saturday, on the main promenade at Wiggins Park, right where the jazz shows are, right next to the aquarium, at 1 o'clock. We're going to unveil a monument for generations. Jersey Joe Walker.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
You'll find all the information on my page,
I'll definitely have it on my page.
on my foundation page, and we'll make sure the word gets out.
It's going to be a day of celebration for my grandfather, for the city. There'll be face painting for the kids. There'll be ice cream giveaways. They're going to be giving away things, and then there'll be a concert. It'll be a nice day, a fun day for people to come down and feel the energy, because this is history. 50 years from now, when we're not here, there'll be some father with his kid going to that spot telling this story. And that's the goal, for people to tell this story until people understand that you got to motivate your kids. It's got to start at your house. It's got to start with you.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Any shout outs, anything? We always give our guests.
I mean, always shout out my brothers from Cap Alpha Psi, my family, my friends, the Monday Night Crew, Mike Rozier, my boys, and Chaka Pratt, all of them guys we get down with every Monday night. And again, you know, people like your father, man, who have inspired me through his life and the things he did. Mr. Bird, I know you're watching. Appreciate you and looking forward to seeing you down there on Saturday.
Yes, indeed.
And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming
Thank you for coming. We appreciate you.
Mad love. Much respect.
Appreciate it. Cousin, got anything?
Just real quick, yesterday, it'll be Saturday, we had the walk for suicide awareness and prevention with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It was the Out of the Darkness walk. It was great time. Thank all of those that came out to support me in my endeavors, as per usual, all the kind words, the words of support, all of that. We do have merchandise available, and just remember, all proceeds and money I raise, I funnel back into the city, and I help the young people with all their needs. A big pet peeve of ours is people forget about our young people when they go to college, and a lot of times our children return home for college because they don't have support. So what we try to do is make sure, if it's just small things like little Walmart cards, food packages, whatever the kids may need while they're in college, they always can reach out to us, and we give help to help them complete their dream.
I applaud you.
And we also always tackle the mental health of our athletes, our student athletes, and our young people, because depression is real right now, and we just try to make sure they understand how to have the coping skills and the techniques and the tools that they need to help them get through this time, this trying time. We're just coming out of a pandemic, so we're trying to equip them with the skills and tools to help themselves as they journey towards adulthood.
Y'all really professional with this thing. Y'all getting down. I like it.
We're gonna do it right.
I like it.
We tried to.
And it's good, man. To be giving wisdom, knowledge, and love, man. And y'all really represent, man. I'm really
Thank you. We appreciate it. I mean, we were taught to lead with love. And when you lead with love, everything will follow suit, right?
Exactly.
You know, you just got to lead with love.
Definitely. So again, appreciate you coming on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, make sure y'all get out there on Saturday.
Looking forward to seeing y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Cousin Tracey, you always thank you. I love you. You know
Love
what I'm
you
saying? I
too. Thank
appreciate
you. Thank you.
doing this with me. And before I get out of here, just real quick, I'm gonna say Friday night we had you know, for those that don't know, coach football at Pennsauken. We played Camden High, and the game had to be canceled at halftime because of the nonsense that was going on in the stands on the Pennsauken side. And I'm probably saying this, and the youth that probably need to hear this is probably not watching this, but like we got to do better. Young people, we got to do better. You know what I'm saying? Like football games, stuff like that is not the time to be fighting and acting crazy. Like we just got to do better. And as we all try to mentor, we need more grown folk to mentor these youth, man. Like if you see a young guy, young girl that might not have a father or a mother or that figure, like, yo, just grab them up if you can and just try. I mean, they might not listen, but you don't know if they're going to listen or not if you don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we gotta stop
for
this.
somebody every day.
Right,
That's
right,
the key.
right,
like,
right.
You know, it's one thing to go to a game and
Right.
promote something to a kid.
Right.
Show up again.
Right,
And
right.
look for another kid.
And I said all the time, sometimes just showing up.
That's right.
Like, you know, a lot of times for me, like a lot of kids respect me.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't about what I've said to them. It ain't about what I did. It was about that I showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a woman of my word. I'm going to see you later.
Right.
Later comes and I show up.
show up.
You know, we got to show up because it is out of hand. And these adults got to be accountable too.
Yep.
Like my thing is the week before when something transpired in Camden, I got involved. I helped the police out because as an adult, I'm not going to sit there and watch no kids fight.
Right.
It's not entertaining for me.
Right.
And we as adults have to have some accountability too. Accountability with your own children.
Yeah.
Talk to your own children.
Start that.
And we talked about that when you step out. When I used to step out the house, I stepped out the house as Tracy Hall. That meant I was Lenny Hall's niece. I was Frank Hall's daughter. They knew Renee. They knew this person. They knew that person. I carried my family with me every time I stepped out the house.
Every time.
So when you step out the house, you got to step out the house with respect.
That's
respect
right.
yourself so you can respect others.
You're not just representing yourself. You're
Right.
representing
The name.
your family, your
Right.
name, your city, your street, your block. I mean, and that's the thing is don't forget who you are.
Right.
You know, be personally aware of who you are. It starts with that. And everybody has seeds of greatness in them. It's up to our parents, our mentors, to water them, and it's up to you to realize you're growing and to keep taking the truth that they're giving you so that you can continue to move towards your dreams and your achievements. You know?
And this is my last thing on the whole situation. I'm going to leave this right here. Hats off to the superintendent for Pennsauken because when things transpire, when Camden is involved, they automatically assume it's Camden. It was not. At this end of the day, it's the generation of kids, sadly, that don't understand respect for each other and respect for adults. But more importantly, this was not a Camden thing this time. It was Pennsauken children, but it shouldn't have never happened at all for us to have to say who did what.
Right.
It shouldn't have never happened. It should have been a good night.
Should be able to talk about the game.
Game. Should be able to talk about the game.
right now. You know
And the
what I'm
fact that we was beating Pennsauken 28-7. Sorry, Coach. I just had to put that.
All right, you know what I'm saying? All right, we had to go there. we had to go there.
My bad. Let's get back to the serious note. But it shouldn't, you know, shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to be having this conversation.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Each one teach one is real, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah,
It's
definitely.
like everybody got to take up the charge. I mean, and again, and everybody got to check on their mom and their grandma.
Yeah.
You know, you got work to do, man. You ain't got time for just your foolishness. You got to
Right,
go out
right,
here
right,
and get
right.
down, help your mom, help your
Right.
little brother, and then take a little time for yourself.
Right.
And say your grace, man. Say your prayers. It's important.
Facts.
It grounds you and puts you where you're supposed to be to start your day,
That
man.
part.
Facts.
And that's real talk. I
Facts.
can go
Nah,
deeper, but that's where I'm at.
Facts. That's facts. Well,
24 in the books.
y'all 24 in the books. Y'all heard it here. You know what I'm saying? Very special episode right here. This is a good one. I feel the energy. Like, I don't know about y'all.
Yeah, no, I feel
But
it.
y'all. Oh, my bad. my form was wrong.
You gonna look like Wilder. You keep throwing it up. You gonna mess around.
Y'all crazy.
Yo, once again, Sechuayo, a.k.a. King Bird. I'm the host of the BYRDCAGE Show. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace out.
it was a stone groove, my man.